Well, welcome everybody to a live edition of the Slice from our world headquarters here in Switzerland. The final of the men's Wimbledon championships is set, and it is going to be absolutely bonkers. If you're just joining us here, welcome to the Slice, and we got Novak Djokovic versus Nicholas Kyrgios in the final of Wimbledon. It's basically hard to believe that I'm even saying these words because for so long it felt like Nick was never going to capitalize on his potential to get to a slam, to win a slam. And, because I would say of the amazing circumstances of this Wimbledon 2022, half the top 10 not being here, Rafa pulling out in the semifinals, we've got Nick Kyrgios in the final versus Djokovic, who is inevitable at Wimbledon to be in the final anyway. So we're going to break down in this video Djokovic beating Norrie, take a quick look at what happened there, and then we're going to jump into talking about the final. Djokovic, Curios, head-to-head right now, 2-0 Curios. Doesn't matter. What are the tactics going to be? What are the emotional games at play going to be? So let's get into it. Welcome to the Slice. All right, people. Welcome. If you're just joining us, make sure you subscribe, and thanks for being here. And the Slice is presented by PointsBet Canada, our sponsor. You can see it right here. They have been supporting us the whole time during this championships, during the French Open, and they have been a great partner with us. As soon as the odds get up there, I will be checking as we go here. I will let you know what they are for the final because I'm very interested to see. But we will have to wait on those for a second because I don't even think they're up yet because the Cam Norrie versus Novak Djokovic match just finished. So what happened there? Let's take a look at that. Before we get into it, if you are a member of our channel or you are a Patreon supporter, your comments, we'll do a Q&A at the end. We'll look at what you guys think about this matchup. Your comments will be looked at first because you guys support the show. And if you want to support our show, click the join button or join us on Patreon for behind the scenes exclusive content from us here on the road covering tennis. So let me just get the stats up here for the Cam Norrie versus Novak Djokovic match that we just watched. So you guys can see it here. Fairly typical, I would say, match. Kind of went similar to the way I thought. I actually thought, the way that Cam Norrie came out was unbelievable. I actually wasn't able to watch the full set. I had the full first set. I had to take a call halfway through it when Cam Norrie really started to turn it on. But he played an amazing first set, came out great, and Novak came out a bit more flat. If we just look at the stats from the first set there, you can see that his win percentage, Cam Norrie's was 70% on the first serve, way higher than Djokovic's. And Djokovic only won 2 out of the 10 points on his second serve. So Cam Norrie came out there playing very clean, also hitting less unforced errors than Djokovic. So that was a great set of tennis. And then from there on, things just reversed, right? So then Djokovic just got his serve under control, 78% first serve in, second set when he needed it. Kept it high throughout the rest of the match. And Norrie just was not able to be as solid as he probably needed to be. During that time, Djokovic got out in front. And that seems to always be the challenge for these young players. Once they surprise Djokovic or they get him off his game at the beginning, Djokovic is going to figure out a way to get back in this, which he did today as well. He's going to lock down his serve, and then he's just going to stop missing. And it seems to me that none of the young guys that Djokovic has played in this tournament, which is not a full roster, not a full draw, they can't stay as solid as Novak can when he goes to that level. So that's basically where they drop off. And one other thing I've noticed, and I tweeted about it, you can't help but notice when the GOATs are playing these younger guys, there seems to be a match, especially when they're leading, when they have the momentum, where they kind of lose it. And it usually comes down, not usually comes down, but there's one point, which is to me like a put away point, an easy point for them, and they'll miss it kind of in a head scratching way. Djokovic, and I'm not just saying this, Djokovic said this after the match. He said, quote, "I got lucky to break in the second set at 3-4. Cam was serving for it. I remember it. I think it was 15 all or 30 all. And Cam just had a basic put away volley at the net after hitting a great shot. Came forward. He kind of tripped, but then kind of just didn't decide which way to go. He wanted to take it on the forehand, but then he switched and took it on the backhand, and he just missed it. And it was like a shocking miss that shouldn't happen, but I've seen that over and over. I've seen that with Shapovalov last year. I've seen it with Sinner. I mean, that wasn't like a crucial part of the match earlier, but basically the volley skills of these guys and the approach transition game needs to get better and more clinical if they're going to win matches like this in the semifinals against one of the GOATs like Novak Djokovic. As you can see, the comment section is open on YouTube here. So if you have thoughts on the match, let me know. If you have thoughts on the final, I will take some of them and look at them at the end of this live. But yeah, Djokovic comes through Norrie in fairly routine fashion after the first set. And Nick Kyrgios came through a withdrawal because he didn't have to play a Rafa Nadal, which is sad, I think, for everyone. If you're a tennis fan and that's a match you absolutely want to see. Rafa Nadal had the first 2 slams of the year, won, so he was technically on the Grand Slam watch. And then again, his body just failed him, and he was not able to play at the level that he needed, or he wasn't able to play. He beat Taylor Fritz, a great challenge in a really tight match with a 7-millimeter tear in his ab, similar to the way Djokovic came through and won the 2021 tournament, which was insane. But that's a shame, first of all, that we didn't get to see Rafa Nadal. Curios had some interesting quotes I saw on Twitter today. He said he actually he's never felt as nervous as he did today. Getting the walk through, he did a press conference today, getting the walk through to the final, he was like in shock that, he's there. He said he never thought he'd make a semifinal. He thought his boat had passed. Well, he definitely didn't think he'd make a final that easily. So he's in the final now, and I think he's getting nervous. He said he was going to do like an extended practice today to simulate a match, because it's weird to have 3 days off in the middle of a slam, especially when you're trying to prepare for the final. So yeah, super interesting for that. The matchup though, what do we got? We have, like I said, is this the craziest final ever? That's my question. We got Nick Kyrgios just everywhere. People have so many opinions about him. He's gone crazy on court. He's thrown away parts of his career with his own behavior. He's talked about that. And then we have one of the greatest ever to do it, Novak Djokovic, searching for number 21 in the final of this wild and wacky and chaotic Wimbledon that has been frustrating from the beginning. But we're getting an amazing final, and I think it's the craziest final of all time. So that's a good question I'm seeing there. What are the details going into this matchup? The first thing people point out is like Novak Djokovic never has beaten Nick Kyrgios. He's actually never won a set. Djokovic actually pointed that out in the on-court interview after with Norrie. And I think that's that 2-0 head-to-head record that Nick Kyrgios has over Djokovic does not mean much. And that's because if you don't remember, that was back in 2017. It was in Acapulco, I think in the third round or quarterfinals, round of 16 or something. And then there's again the week after that in Indian Wells, 2 wins in a row. And in 2017, Novak was still coming back from kind of like an injury, and he was in a really weird place in his career. Did not have a good game at all. Like he lost everything that year. Like he didn't play well, and then he ended up taking the rest of the year off and then trying to come back again. So that was a tough year for Novak, and that is not where Novak's at now. So you could also make the argument, though, that Kyrgios is at a better place now than he was then. But that's actually, I remember in 2017, Kyrgios seemed to have it pretty locked in, and he was playing pretty good tennis. He was in the top 20, if I do remember. But so I would say the 2-0 head-to-head record does not mean so much right now, especially going into the final. What does mean a lot is the biggest stroke in this matchup, which is going to be the Nick Kyrgios serve. Like, I think it's pretty obvious. He's got the best serve on tour, I think. On grass, best serve on tour, because he can also fit. Anyone with a serve of that level can't move well. Nick Kyrgios isn't like an amazing mover, but he's competent enough. But they can't play the all-court game like Nick can, and Nick can come forward amazingly well, volley amazingly well. So the question is, how will Nick serve? That's the biggest shot there. How will Nick serve? How will Djokovic return? The one thing that Nick has far and above guys like Norrie or guys like Sinner, who played Djokovic and had decent success. I mean, Sinner was up 2-0. Nick Kyrgios has a serve that can end points whenever he wants. He's going to serve probably almost an ace per game, right? And a lot of those games he'll get more than one ace. So the problem for Djokovic is that he can start slow again and lose the first set. We saw him do that against Norrie. We saw him do that against against Sinner. And we've seen him do that at the US Open last year. And, if you're going to look at a guy who has a huge serve, when Djokovic played Alexander Zverev last year in the US Open semifinals, Zverev had a huge serve. At that point, I thought Zverev was the best hardcourt player in the world. He'd won the Olympics, taking out Djokovic. And you saw how Djokovic was able to fight in that match and return and stand far back. The advantage that Kyrgios has here, obviously, is that it's Wimbledon. It's grass court. The ball still skips way faster than the US Open, stays lower. And Nick, if he's serving well, which he will find ways to serve well at different points in the match, if he serves well the entire match, that's going to be extremely hard for even Djokovic to break Kyrgios. But the thing is, Djokovic is, I would say, the best returner of all time against big serves. And he will put more pressure on the Kyrgios serve than Kyrgios has faced this year, for sure, especially on this grass swing, which he's played so well. He's won, I think, 12 matches, 13, 14 matches at this point. I don't know. He's done well at each tournament he's played in. So Djokovic is going to put unbelievable pressure on the Kyrgios serve. Kyrgios will know that he can't get away with serving like 55% first serves in for the match. That just won't cut it. So we'll see. Will that pressure affect Kyrgios? He's been a big match player against big top 10 guys outside of the slams. He's won a lot against them. This is a slam, though. He beat Stefanos Tsitsipas earlier than this for his first top 10 win in a long time in a slam. But the good thing is he's in the final here, and he didn't have to play the semifinal, and he only had a 3-set match in the quarterfinal. So he physically, Kyrgios should be ready to go, totally ready to go, no issues. And that's also dangerous for Novak, 100%. So there's so many things to take into account. And one of the other things Djokovic said after the match against Norrie, he just said, there's going to be a fireworks, both on the court and emotionally. And that's going to be a huge game. Will the pressure that Novak puts on Kyrgios trick Kyrgios into or set off Kyrgios to be getting mad at umpires, getting mad at the ball, getting mad at himself, getting mad at his coach, getting mad at somebody in the crowd, getting mad at bad calls? If Kyrgios gets super distracted and angry and turns this into what happened at Tsitsipas, I don't think Djokovic will get as rattled as Tsitsipas. That would blow my mind. Obviously, Djokovic can get angry in matches. So can Kyrgios. And in some ways, when they both do get angry and let that emotion out, it makes both of them can make them both play better. I've seen it work against them in certain scenarios, obviously. But generally, I think Novak, when he gets locked in and fired up, he plays better. But my thinking is that I remember when Djokovic beat Federer in the 2019 final, he said at the beginning, I made a promise to myself not to let myself get emotionally uncanned. And he didn't. That entire match, he was very stoic. I don't think he got frustrated once. And then he obviously, went 5 sets, and it was in a 5th set tiebreaker, flip of the coin, and it went his way. But if he hadn't stayed mentally locked in and he let his emotions go, he probably was going to lose that match because he was right on the edge, obviously saving match points. But against, I think against Curios, I think if Novak gets really mad and Kyrgios, that just opens the gap for Kyrgios to get under his skin, and I don't think that's a good thing. So I don't think Novak wants to get into that emotional battle or emotional fireworks that's going to be going on with Kyrgios. Does that make sense? What do you guys think? Let me know. And then I'm interested to see, because Djokovic will find a way to get in the Kyrgios service games, of course, because he's the best returner of all time. How is Kyrgios going to play those rally games? I see Kyrgios with his backhand. He hits a flat backhand, and I've watched him in person play before, and it's really interesting the way that he likes to play with the speed on his backhand. He will literally slow ball guys with his backhand, flat backhand, just let it bounce low on the grass and just see what they're going to do. So I can see us doing, or them doing, a lot of slice to slice, backhand to backhand rallies. Also, Kyrgios pushing it backhand to backhand with Kyrgios, and then it's going to be who can take that ball from below the net, go up the line. Djokovic will be able to go up the line better with that ball just because he has a more pronated wrist on the backhand. Try to get super technical, but he can just add way more spin to the ball on the backhand. So if Djokovic is running around the backhand and hitting forehands, trying to go to Nick's backhand, then he'll have an opportunity to go up the line. But it's just going to be super interesting to see the dynamics of the rally patterns and how they play out. So yeah, that's kind of just all I can say about the tactics. Novak's going to want to serve well for sure, because Curious will also be putting massive pressure on Novak's serve because Novak won't want to get broken, and Kyrgios is a good returner. So that puts extra pressure on Novak to serve well, and that could make him not serve well. So it's going to be super interesting to see, people. I'm going to get to some questions here from all the people who are not trolls, and especially the people who are members of the channel. And we're going to take a look at what you guys think. But I don't know, people. This has been such a wild Wimbledon in so many ways. A lot of people are putting an asterisk on it because half the top 10's there. I don't put asterisks on tournaments, but because you can only play who's in front of you and win who's in front of you. So it'll be 21 slams for Novak. It'll be the first slam for Kyrgios. But as I said in the videos I put out before and on Twitter, is tennis history, is tennis Twitter, are you guys in the comment section ready for Nick Kyrgios to win Wimbledon beating Novak Djokovic if that happens? Are you kidding me? That would be insane, wouldn't it? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, I just saw the odds to win are right now 1.21 for Novak Djokovic and 4.60 for Nick Kyrgios on PointsBet Canada. That is a lot of value off the bat for me for Nick Kyrgios. You could get almost 5 times your money if Nick Kyrgios is able to beat Novak Djokovic. And then I guess the last thing before we get questions, what are the nerves going to be like? Djokovic is going to be nervous. Obviously, he doesn't want to lose. He always shows nerves because he cares, and he's going for 21. And there's so much on the line for him, obviously. But I think Kyrgios is going to be nervous as well, and that's going to be interesting to watch. How will that express itself? He's not going to come out here not caring. He does that at the smaller tournaments. This is exactly where he wants to play. He wants to win this, and he'll never be able to convince us that he doesn't. So playing Djokovic on center court at Wimbledon in the final will be probably the most pressured Nick Kyrgios has ever faced, personally, from his his expectations and just in tennis in general. So how is he going to react to that pressure? Part of me thinks he's gonna maybe not serve well at the beginning, maybe miss some easy shots and then get broken, and then might get frustrated to try and kick himself into gear. And it's just going to be like a fine balance, isn't it, of what we're going to see. But anyways, let's get into some of your thoughts. There's a lot, so bear with me if I don't get to you. Robin Gang Dang says, will Novak start this way in his final match with Curios? Question for Novak there. Will Novak start this way in his final match with Curios? That's the question. I don't know. Will he? He is going to want to start well, of course. But Novak has had his history in the last, U.S. Open, this tournament, of starting slow, losing the first set. And I just don't think he's going to want to obviously do that against a guy like Curios, who's so dangerous. Amy says, I think Nole will win. Washer B says, Kyrgoat gonna win. Kyrgoat. That's what they are calling him in some parts of the world. And Danny Tan says, tricky Curios, but does it again. But Joker is so good. So good, mate. Yeah, he is so good. And it's going to be an extremely tough nut to crack for Curios. But again, I think with the serve he possesses and the fact that he's physically rested, he hasn't, and he probably will never have a better chance to beat a Big Three member at a slam again. Well, he had a chance. He obviously did it, beat Nadal here in 2014. But going forward, like, he couldn't have a more perfect scenario for him coming into a final, in my opinion, not my period. Grahamsa says, against Sinner was also a choke from Sinner in the end. In my opinion, I don't think Nick would choke. He really believes in himself at this point. And yeah, he's already beat Djokovic. Obviously, Nick's going to have confidence in himself. Why wouldn't he? Why would he not believe that he could beat Djokovic again? Again, I don't think those earlier matches are really relevant to how Novak will play or how the matchup will be now. But yeah, Kyrgios is going to take confidence from that. And also, if Kyrgios gets ahead, he's going to be a much better front runner than Sinner because he can end points way quicker with his serve. He can get so many free points with his serve, and that will be super interesting. Grahamsa also says, I don't think Kyrgios' backhand is weak. I also don't think that. As I spoke about earlier, I think he's got a great backhand, and the way he can play with the speed of it is super interesting. And I think he can really hurt Djokovic in a way by taking pace off the ball, making Djokovic hit up on it. And that's what we've seen Federer do throughout his career: slice, keep the ball low, kind of keep it mid-court. And he's had success against Novak Djokovic doing that for sure. Let's just go through a few more comments here. Obviously, Dreamt says, what if Kyrgios troll us by retiring early because of shoulder injury? That would be extremely sad. I would be very sad if that happened, and I'd be upset at Curios if he did that. Have to push through no matter what the pain is. It's a Wimbledon final. Like, come out there, get them to come out here, get one of those Rafa Nadal shots in the arm, make it freeze. I don't know. You got to finish it. That can't happen. Keeping going here, Fernando says Kyrgios in 4 sets. Vindri, interesting, says, I'm an Aussie and I'm rooting for Novak. Interesting. And then, or the good point, Oreste says, will Kyrgios retire if he wins Wimbledon? That is a debate. I haven't seen this quote in person, but I heard that Kyrgios said at one point that if he ever won a slam in singles, he would just retire and go on the top. And I mean, if he wasn't in such a, seemingly good place in his life right now, I think that might be an option for him. But he's getting paid that, he's getting paid that Netflix money. He's got a lot of money on the table. Like, he's going to make over $1 million Australian dollars, even if he loses this match. So, and he'll be able to continue doing that for years in the future. So in my opinion, financially, I don't know if he's like financially set for life now. It would be, I guess it would kind of make sense depending on how smart he's been with his money, but I kind of wouldn't imagine that he's been incredibly smart with his money. But I don't know. I don't think he'll retire. I think he'd keep going, and it just wouldn't make sense if he did. But if he did, I think he doesn't love tennis the same way that other guys do. So he's not going to play until his 40s, obviously. And he's now 28, I think, 27 maybe. But it'll be interesting. I don't know. If he wins, that press conference will be absolutely bonkers, won't it? Amy says, Djokovic is the best returner in the game. Very excited to watch the final. And I could not agree more. I am also incredibly excited to watch the final. And yeah, I just don't know. So as far as the prediction goes, 22 minutes into this, you got to predict Djokovic winning. He's won 6 times here. He's won 20 slams. But I predict it being 5 sets. I don't know. I predict Kyrgios getting under Novak's skin. I expect there to be total drama going on in the match. But we'll see. We'll see how well Nick plays. We'll see how well Novak plays, and see how in control of their emotions they are. I think it's fair to call this the craziest final ever. We got Nick Kyrgios versus Novak Djokovic in the final of Wimbledon, people. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Most of you will watch this after the live recording. Thanks to those of you who have been here, and we will see you guys next time here on The Slice. Take it easy and buckle up for the final.